Hello, hello, hello. Can you believe it? It's bloody happy Friday again. Well, we like to make Fridays jolly, don't we? Although this Friday, I don't know if anybody else is a bit like me and a fairly bit sweaty this Friday. Do my best to stay in the cool. I don't know about you. Yeah, it is. It's a bit warm out there, so we're coming for a cool down over lunch, and yeah, it's time for this week's Festival Friday live, and I've got my most special guest that could possibly be on this show with me today. I've had this lady on before. You can see her name's Jane there, and actually, a load of you'll be like, I know this woman because she gets about a bit. She's got a name for herself in all the good ways. But I had Jane on the show right up early. Actually, it was the day I went for my vulva casting in Brighton, which I think was the week of the beginning of May. So that means lots of you might not have been around then. So you won't have got the chance to meet Jane and find out what she's all about. So anyway, Jane is the absolute powerhouse and founder of Girls Out Loud. So we're like this about Womanifest, right? This is about Jane's organisation working with mine to bring you an absolutely amazing event, not only for women, right? This is one of the big messages we want to talk about today, is that this event is not just for women, all right? Jane's organisation is all about supporting teen girls. And so our event is as much about empowering teenage girls as it is the women in our lives. So yeah, hello, Jane. Nice to see you on this Friday. So I think it's probably a good idea to start with you just telling everybody a little bit about who Jane Kenyon is.
Oh, God.
How you got to this point of Girls Out Loud being 12 years old.
Okay. So whenever I talk about that journey, I always talk about my life's kind of in 3 acts. So my first act was a corporate bunny. So I went straight from school at 16 into the corporate world, studied at night because I knew I wasn't going anywhere because I failed everything when I was at school on purpose. That's another story. And so all about climbing that ladder. And as I climbed that ladder, I studied. So I worked, I studied, I worked, I studied, I slept occasionally, I worked, I studied, I climbed. And I got to 28 and I had the big job, the corner office, the big team, the multi-million-pound budget, nice car, nice house, long-term relationship. And I was very unhappy. Very unhappy. I also had 2 degrees, 3 postgraduate diplomas and an MBA. Still very unhappy.
All on paper. It's all there,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it all looks like it was rocking, and it really wasn't. I was very stressed. I was very unhappy in the work that I was doing. I worked for a big training company, and we did some great stuff, but I just felt that I was too engaged in the politics of that organization. I didn't feel I was in my space, my own space, and so I made a big decision at 28 to walk away from that. At the same time, not doing things by halves, I also walked away from the relationship I was in, walked away from the place that I lived, moved somewhere like 100 miles away and started again. And so then in my 30s, my second act was all about being a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I've built businesses, I've bought businesses, I've gone into partnership with people. I've made a lot of money, I've lost a lot of money several times. I'm very good at losing money. I'm very good at spending money as well. And and so I had probably about 10 businesses over 12 years. I got to about my early 40s and thought, I'm emotionally exhausted. I don't think I've got much more in the tank. I'm fed up of doing this. I'm fed up of disingenuous people. I'm fed up of the whole profit drive. I'm fed up with shareholders, that is for sure. I'm fed up with investors. So I now need to get off this wheel and decide what I do next, because I'm now in my early 40s. What I do next has got to really be important. It's got to juice me. It's got to come from here, not here. Yeah. Here works very well. I need to find cause, purpose, passion. And so again, timing, I really believe in the universe creating the right timing for you. I also met the man of my dreams the month in my first month that I dropped out of that serial entrepreneur game. And I married him. I'm still with him. Tony is like my absolute hero. And so at that time, I stepped out of everything. I divested all my interests and I spent a year off. And so we did a lot of traveling together. And in that process, I was kind of reflecting,
Yeah.
thinking about, what is it that I'm good at? What is my gift? What is my natural talent? What do I do effortlessly without even thinking about? And I had a chance to kind of think about that and look back on my career. And I worked out that what I was excellent at, and I still am, was switching the light on for other people. I'd done it every single job I'd ever had. I'd done it in every single business I'd ever had. I kind of see other people's light before they see it. I believe in people before they believe in themselves. And then eventually when they get it, it's like, done, next. And that's what I always do. I still do it now. I do it all the time. We have this thing about Girls Out Loud, don't we? It's like, do you go for a coffee with Jane? You're in. Yeah, you're in. Yeah. So I worked out that that's what I was good at. So I thought, do you know what? I'll be a coach, because this was right at the beginning of the coaching revolution. So this is 25 years ago. I'll be a coach. I'll do that. So while I was off, I trained to be a coach. But again, Jane, full immersion. Don't do things by ours. So I trained to be a coach, a cognitive behavior therapist, a timeline therapist, a hypnotherapist, and I did a 6-month coaching counselling qualification as well. So here I am with all this stuff now. I come back after 8 months. I didn't survive 12, and I set up a coaching practice. And I thought, this is my thing. And I work with lots of women, lots of seriously successful women that I remember thinking at the time, what do you need a coach for? You're awesome. You're rocking. You've got this big job, all this responsibility, blah, blah, blah. And then got them in my coaching chair, asked a few key questions, peeled back some layers. There it all is. Guilt, imposter syndrome, don't think I'm good enough, don't think I'm doing everything right, don't even think I'm doing the right thing, feel exhausted, feeling conflict about this, so on and so forth. So I started coaching women, loved it, thought, found my thing. But at the heart, I am an entrepreneur and I need to build things. And so for me, working on a one-to-one with people, it is liberating and I love it and I still love it, but it wasn't enough for me. I needed a bigger platform. So in 2004, I set up the Well Heeled Divas. And the Well Heeled Divas is an aspirational brand. It's all about helping women recognize what they need to do to shine, because that's what we're all here for. Yeah. And for some women, that might be job related. It might be, finding the courage to say, you know what, that's my job there, and I'm going for it. And it doesn't matter how many obstacles are thrown in my way. That's my job, and I'm going to have it within the next 2 years. For other women, it might be, I need to get out of this organization. I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time. I need to go and do something for me. What I did, I need to move out of that world and set up something for me that is set up on my values, my morals, and I bring in people that I want to work with, and we build something together. For other women, it might be finding the courage to leave Mr. Wrong, so that you create space to find Mr. Right. So lots of different things for lots of different women. So I was running workshops, retreats, coaching women, peer mentoring groups. Then I was coaching women to coach women. And I did all of that 3 or 4 years. I thought, this is my thing. Done it. Loved it. And was running events all over the country, motivational events every month. Loved it. And the 2 things happened. One, I got into a partnership with the wrong person, and it was very destructive. And 2, I kind of recognized after about 4 years that what I was really doing was creating role models. And now what was I going to do with them? And I also started to feel really antsy about teenage girls. So by at this point, I'd adopted my niece, who was very broken. And I was working with her. She was only 15. And I just started to put the feelers out. I started to talk to people about it. And the more you talk about things, the more the universe has a way of bringing them to your door. Yeah. So I started talking about what was going on with the highest teenage pregnancy rate in Europe. Girls' academic aspirations were dropping. We just started to see mental health issues creep into schools. And I thought, there's something going on here. And so I started talking about it. And then I had several red flags. So the first was I was asked to coach some daughters of women that I'd coached. So I did that first, didn't like what I was seeing. Secondly, I was invited into schools as a speaker. So I would go in and run group mentoring sessions. I would be a speaker at the assembly. I'd go in on International Women's Day. Didn't like what I was seeing. And then I get invited to speak at youth conferences, and they were the game changer for me. So when I spoke at several of these conferences, I was always the only woman on the platform. There were always more girls in the room than boys. The girls were really struggling. It's like they really connected to me and my backstory, and I could never get out of the room. And I just suddenly thought, you know what? Why am I even messing about with this? I need to do something about it. Woman of action. Don't talk about it. Get on with it. And so I created an intervention program. I called it Girls Out Loud, and I pitched it into some schools. And I pitched it into some schools in Blackpool because Blackpool had the highest teenage pregnancy rate in Europe at the time. And I knew quite a lot of people in Blackpool because I'd done a few youth conferences. So school picked it up. I delivered a 6-month program with 12 girls. Those girls changed my life. They were an absolute baptism of fire. You met one of them last night.
Last night?
Yeah. These girls were the girls that were on the point of being excluded. Their behaviour was off the scale. The teachers didn't know what to do with them. Some of them were really bright, but they weren't engaging. They were coming from the most complicated, chaotic home lives you can imagine. And naive Jane, never worked with those kind of girls before, went, bring it on, I can do that. And so I developed this program to work with them for 6 months. I worked with them every week for a full afternoon, and we had dinner together, and then I coached them every week. So I gave up 6 months of my life to work out if this was my next thing. And boy, did those girls put me through my paces.
They did.
And there was everything going in that room. There was drug and alcohol abuse. There was self-harming. There was sexual abuse going on at home. There was physical abuse going on at home. These were the girls that were falling down the cracks. These were the girls that the teachers really didn't know what to do with, because the girls weren't really talking to the teachers, as they weren't talking to their social workers or their family workers. They didn't trust any of them. And because they've been let down by every adult in their life, why would they trust them? So they weren't really sharing anything. And then I come along and I'm completely different. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a social worker. I'm pretty cool. I really care about them. I really believe in them. And I tell them that the first day I meet them, even if I don't even know anything about you, but I believe in you. I think you're already awesome. And they were like, oh, and she's a bit weird. And I just connected with them after 6 weeks. I was in rapport with all of them in 6 weeks. And they all changed their lives. They were absolutely amazing. And when I look back at those girls now, they're 27, 28. 2 of them are teachers. One of them's a midwife. One of them's a fine artist. One of them runs her own community cafe. One of them's an ice skating tutor. They've all really done really well. They've done really well. And some of them have come back into Girls Out Loud now as role models. So those girls really changed my life. So at the end of that program, I decided that I would dedicate the rest of my life to teenage girls. And that's what I did. So I set up a social enterprise a year later. I started to develop programs in schools, anything from 2 hours to 12 months. I continued to work with those really troubled girls, but I also then started working with middle girls.
Yeah.
Because every time I would go into school, I was aware that these tough girls only made up a small percentage of the cohort. Although I have to tell you that that's changed big time in the past decade. Yeah. Those girls were about 18% of the cohort. In some of the schools that we now work with, they're 60%.
Yeah.
The gifted and talented girls take up about 18 to 20%. The rest of the girls sit in the middle. They don't get anything. They don't get any attention. They don't get any investment, because all teacher time is monopolized by the extreme. Yeah. And a middle girl just floats. She's just invisible. Yeah.
She sits nicely. She doesn't make a fuss. She doesn't cause a scene.
And she does all right. She does all right. But you know what? The talent that we're missing in those middle girls is just criminal. And also those middle girls are now suffering with mental health issues. Yeah. Most of the self-harming is in the middle. Most of the depression, anxiety, and panic attacks is in the middle. Most of the whole body dysmorphia and body confidence issues are in the middle. Because if you think about these girls that are at the extreme, they're dealing with a lot more stuff than that. Yeah. So all the stuff that we talk about in the press, social media, abuse, grooming, bullying, sexual assault in school, self-harming, depression, all this stuff sits around the middle. So we now run a program for girls in the middle called Big Sister.
Yeah.
And that's a mentoring program. So we run the Startling program, which is the coaching program for the really tough girls. Big Sister, which is a mentoring program for the middle girls. And then we run a series of workshops that schools can dip in and out of. And then we run a speed mentoring event that schools can dip in and out of. And we've been doing that for 12 years. And in that time, we've worked with about 50 schools and about 18,000 girls. And we launched in Dubai this year. So that's what we do.
Just look at that. And just like that, here's where we landed.
Here's where we landed, yeah.
Here's where we landed. Oh, well, yeah, Emma aspires to be a big sister.
Good.
Since the last Womanifest. Amazing. We'll get you in on that at some point, Emma. That's it. You've declared it now on Facebook.
Witness. We're all witness to that. We've got nowhere to go now.
Well, you know, you'll be out for coffee and you'll never get out. No, I'm just kidding. No, and you know what? People don't know. Not a lot of people know that journey, do they? And not a lot of people have. Even though there's lots of women like you and I who have got children that go to school. Not a lot of people. I mean, I can say this myself. I'm a mum to 3 teenage girls that what we're talking about here. And I had no idea of the degree of challenge, really, that they faced. You know, I had my own experience as a teenager. You know, that was interesting, let's say. You know, I was probably near the top of the middle girls, but, you know, I could get away with dicking about and still do all right in my exams. So like that, nobody, you know, I just got left alone to do my own thing. So I really did my own thing. You know, and I even with my 3 girls now, until I spent much more time with you and started getting involved with the work that Girls Out Loud does, I had no idea at some of the scary statistics, challenges that they're facing now, you know, and initially it's quite disturbing, but actually once you let it simmer with you for a bit, I just felt compelled to act. Yeah.
So when we talk about those game changers, because we talk quite a lot.
Tell them about
So we've got, I mean, I've been working with girls for over a decade now, 12 years. And people say to me, oh, that must be great. It must be so much better now. And, you know, I take a deep breath and I say, well, I really wish it was. Yeah, I really wish it was. But actually it's not. Because there are these massive game changers that have all come in to their landscape at the same time. So the first is smart technology.
Yeah.
So we're not just talking about a phone here. We're talking about a gadget where they live. Okay. They spend up to 14 hours a day on this gadget.
Yeah.
And it defines everything about who they are, who they think they should be, the way they're supposed to look, the way they're supposed to behave, you know, what they're supposed to do to attract boys. All of that is on that smartphone.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's fueling a mental health crisis. So we know for a fact,
doesn't it?
We know for a fact that girls are influenced by social media much more than boys. So it contributes to the depression stats. So we've now got 25% of girls will be suffering with depressive tendencies by the age of 14. And we know that social media has a massive impact on that. So we've got all of this stuff going on social media. A second thing we've got is that we've mainstreamed porn. And this thing fits into there as well. So, you know, when we were young, when we were growing up, particularly me, you know, you had a bit of sex ed and then you found out the rest yourself. And, you know, the only magazine you were reading was Jackie or Twinkle. And you had 4 channels on the TV and you didn't have open access porn. You know, you might have found a dirty
you'd get a regular magazine, wouldn't you? And that'd be it.
That was it, you know, and it was incredibly tame. Incredibly tame. Now these girls are subjected to boys watching hardcore porn all day, every day on their smartphone. And of course that impacts both of their sexual exploration because the boys are then, well, this is what you're supposed to do. And the girls are like, you want me to do what? Because porn's fake. It's a fantasy.
Yeah.
But they don't know that when they're 13.
No, they think that's real life, isn't it? And that's what they can expect, both in terms of the act and what they can do, and what these girls should look like.
Yeah. So there isn't any. We don't teach intimacy. We don't even teach consent in a lot of schools. We don't teach relationships. We just teach the act of sex, and that's been what we've done for like ever. Yeah. And so they're learning and getting their sexual cues from porn. Okay, which is very scary. That's the second thing. Same time, how it happened in the same time. A third thing that came in at the same time was reality TV. And so now we've got porn, reality TV, and smart technology. And they are trying to navigate those three things.
Yeah.
Like every day, they're bouncing off that. And all of those three things are very exploitative. From a girl's point of view. So reality TV teaches them that their appearance is the most important thing about them, that sex is a commodity, that they should sleep with boys to get power, even if they don't like the boy, that their appearance will always be number one, and they always need to be better, and they always need to be improving it, and that life's a competition. So that's where all the aggression comes from between girls.
There's winners, losers.
Absolutely. So we're seeing more and more girls like being really mean. And, girls do have a tendency to be mean, but this is psychologically mean.
Yeah.
And they're learning how to do that from reality TV. So all these things they're being hit by them about, 30,000 messages a week.
Yeah.
And some of them are coming in, and some girls are going, no, that's rubbish. Majority of girls are going, yeah, I need to do that, and I need to do that. And what they really need is us. They need us to show them a better way. They need us to give them that space and that safety and that non-judgmental space to talk to us, so that we can go, oh God, and do you like that? And how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
So we can give them permission to say, well, tell him to do one.
Yeah.
Or, don't do that if you don't feel comfortable. You do
how to tell them to do one in the right way.
Yeah. So we're not fixing them. We're giving them the space to talk about this, because they don't get that. They never get a chance to talk about it at school. Talking about it with the girlfriends is too competitive. Talking to mum is a bit scary, because they don't want to disappoint mum.
Well, and here's the other thing for me about mums, and I say this because I've been in this position. I'm not exempt from this at all. Is that, well, we're also still subjected to some of those things. Maybe not at the same height on the dial, but I know as mums, we're looking at Instagram. We've got comparisonitis. We're comparing our lives to other people. We're thinking my life's shit compared to all of that. Then we're more successful. All the things you talked about before that you're coaching women. I'd love to know, actually, people who are watching, how many of them things were you sitting there going, yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, because it's been me. It's definitely been me. And actually,
if we're not empowered and we're not doing that stuff, then how do we expect them not to do it? And, women will say to me all the time, yeah, but I've told her, we've had a conversation about that. Great, that's great, but she's not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
She's going to watch you. She's observing you. So she's not listening to what you say. Once she hits 13 and you give her that smart technology, you've lost a lot of your power and influence, because she's now in that pit called smart technology, and she's not going to listen to you. However, she is going to watch you. And so if you are freaked out by putting on a pound, if you're kind of talking about anti-aging crap all the time, if you're popping out for Botox at lunchtime, if you don't believe in you and you're talking about, oh God, I'm not really right, I can't do that, I'm not good enough to do that, and and this is really what I deserve, and then she's going to do that. She's going to copy you. So
if you go at the talk, if the conversation comes up about something that is porn-like, you've got to be ready to chuck yourself into that and recognize that there's development for us as grown-ups to do for our own benefit, even before we get to the girls. Yes, if you can't be there for yourself, then be there for the girls, definitely. But I'd love for you to be there for yourself as well. And
so I think the two things go together. I mean, you know me, Joyce, I've worked with women for 25 years. And so the two things go together for me, because they need us to be real role models, and you need to work with them so that you get what that means. So when I talk about girls, I'm talking about empowering them. I'm talking about helping them find their voice. Okay. I'm not talking about career counseling them. I'm not talking about that, doing any of that stuff, because all that stuff's irrelevant if they don't believe in themselves. So I'm talking about the big stuff. Now, when you do that with a 12, 13-year-old, you better be ready to do it for you, because there's nowhere to hide. She'll ask you, she said, what are you doing about that then, Jodes? You know, I dumped my toxic friends because you told me that they weren't doing me any favors, and we talked about that, and I've realized you're right, and so I've got rid of Ellie, and I've got rid of Zoe. Have you got any toxic friends? Yeah, so they're coming right back at you.
Yeah.
So when you're helping her, she's going to teach you as well, and you're going to go on the same journey. So when you become a big sister to her, you know, you're also being a big sister to yourself, and there'll be so many things that you go, yeah, I recognize I've been doing that, or oh my Lord, I need to sort that out.
Yeah.
She's just taught me, you know, and we're all about, let's get her empowered when she's 14, right? Let's create these little divas so she knows what to say no to. She knows what to say yes to. She puts her hand up. She speaks up. She's assertive.
Got boundaries. Yeah.
She's got a bit of gumption, which she's going to need, because I'm not one of these people that is. I want to say to these girls, it's all rosy out here, girls. You know, it's all rosy. When you leave school, you're going to get a great job. You're just going to be able to climb this ladder. In fact, you're going to climb it. You're going to glide up it. You know, you're just going to glide up it. You know, you're going to be paid to say straight away. You're not going to have to fight for anything, because that's not the reality. Yeah. And if we do that, we're going to seriously disappoint them, and they're going to end up being Insta influencers or getting their kit off on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's like, you never told me it was going to be like this. You never told me I was going to have to fight for this. And so, yeah, we are. Unfortunately,
they're already not into the idea of putting effort into things, because life now, you click a button and it's there tomorrow. You know, you don't have to. Everything's easy to get your hands on now. So
apart from the big stuff.
Yeah, but the concept of effort, they don't like, do they? They're like, oh, I'm not doing that if I have to put effort.
Yeah. Or resilience, you know, resilience. So, you know, if they do something and it's not working, they go, I'm not doing that.
Rubbish, doesn't work.
That doesn't work. You say, well, that might not have worked, but what about doing it this way? Oh, can't be bothered now. It's not work. And where's that going to get them?
Yeah, not very far, is it? Not very far.
Or they think if they're clever, that's enough. Well, I'm clever. Well, it's not enough.
I'll get my GCSEs.
Yeah, you need to have a bit about you. You need more than that. So, but so do we. So it's back to us again, isn't it? So yeah. So if you want the biggest personal development journey, if you're ready to step up and go on a journey, and at the same time empower a girl, then you need to become a big sister.
Yeah. Definitely.
And hopefully at Womanifest, we've got a big sister stand, and you're going to be able to meet women that are big sisters.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to tell you about their journey, and hopefully we can engage you in stepping up and supporting the cause.
Yeah. And actually, you know, Womanifest itself is a first taster. It's just to kind of give you a bit of a flavour and a bit of an experience and start that journey for yourself, isn't it? I mean, it's really easy to say, you know, oh, it's a personal development, empowerment and well-being festival for women, but it's so much more than that. And we battle daily, don't we, trying to bring it to life enough for people. You know, people are like, oh, that sounds nice, but actually when you hear some of this is the stuff that really compels you to act. And I know for those of you that have been watching so far, you know, if you're switched on by some of this, right, hit the share button on it now and make sure it gets in front of another bunch of people, because these are the important messages. Even if you can't make it to the festival, right, help us share this message. It's really, really important. You know, there's so much more we've got going on. So let's talk a little bit about the things that we've got going on.
It's very exciting in my house at the moment. It's like my house is like a Santa's grotto. So every day stuff arrives, you know, like from sponsors or people supporting us. And so we've got these 2 amazing tents. We've got a wellness tent and an activity tent. So in our activity tent, we've got all these drop-in stations that girls can come in and out of all day, every day. We've got a festival ready station where they can get their hair braided, their glitter paint, their festival glitter paint on the, and then make their own flower headband. We've got a drop-in bracelet, friendship bracelet station where they can come together and make each other bracelets, or they can make one for their mum or whoever. We've got a pebble painting station because we know that girls love painting pebbles. You know, when we take kids into school, they're like, you know, so we've got all of that going on. And then we've got a spin the wheel that goes on in that tent all day, every day with prizes. We've got an Insta photograph corner with all these quirky things and props that you can do.
Props.
Yeah, like props. And so that's all going on. There'll be lots of other stuff, prizes and everything going on in there. And then in the other tent, that's our quieter tent. So that's our wellness tent.
Yeah.
So now we've got yoga, we've got meditation at the end of each day. We're having a chill out meditation. We've got a power hour with me every day, all about, you know, showing girls how to believe in themselves, be bold, be brave. And then we've got exploring crystals. Because again, whenever we take crystals, oh my God, they love them. So those again are on repeat in our wellness tent. You have to book in advance for them.
Yeah.
So still show up if you haven't, because we're not, you know, some people book and don't show up, don't they? Some people show up and don't book, but just turn up when you do it. But it'd be great if you could book. And then the activity tent is going on all the time. So both those tents are manned by professional DBS checked individuals that work for Girls Are Allowed. We all work all the time. We know exactly what the score is, what's going on, and you know. And as we're doing that, we've also got a vision board station as well in the activity tent. As we're doing all that, it's fun, but it's also empowering, and it's a real fine line. This. Because, you know, you talk about, well, how's doing a mood board empowering? But you sat with professional coaches and they're having conversations with you while you're doing it. And, you know, they're just pushing, they're just expanding your horizons all the time. And everything that you're doing, it's fun, but you're doing it with other girls and you're doing it with us. And, you know, you're going to come out of those, they're going to come out of those tents buzzing. Absolutely buzzing, running, telling you what they've been doing and so on and so forth. So we're really excited. So like every day, something else arrived. Today, I got 6 boxes of club biscuits.
Nice. Oh, what flavour?
All flavors. Mint, orange, fruit and nut, plain.
Orange and mint are David's favourite. Whenever he goes to give blood, he loves it because he gets a mint club while he's doing it.
So yeah, so they'll all be going, because every girl gets a goodie bag. So those are one of the things that you're going to do. Yeah. Today I got 3 crates of mini rolls, chocolate mini rolls. So if you ever get a kind of chocolate need in our house, it's like stacked at the moment. And then I'm getting prizes. I got a leather biker jacket the other day from Joe Brown. Yeah, it's beautiful. So all of this is going. I don't think there's going to be room in my house by the end.
I'm the same. I don't even show you this side of my office. I have to tilt my computer screen this way when I'm online. Like, I'll go on, look at all that stuff over there. I've had what I had this week. Card reader machines, because we need about 6.
Yeah.
And wristbands. So we need like 6 different types of wristband for day guests.
Yeah.
Guests, VIP guests, kids. Kids are on a special colour band.
Have you had a purple one? Have you ordered it?
Purple? I bought you purple. Of course I bought you. Look, I can even prove to you. I wrote down on my post-it note, kids.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. You're on it. You're on it.
I love it when I've done that for you.
And then last night we had our first rehearsal for the vagina monologues, didn't we?
And this, I really wanted to take the time to talk about this today, because I don't want this one to slip past people unnoticed. Because it still plays into this big message that we've got, doesn't it? So, you know, a lot of people don't even know about the vagina monologues. A couple of the women that are involved in the performance with us, until we got them involved, they didn't know what it was, did they? So yeah. Well, do you want to tell? You've had a bit of background with it.
Yeah. So it's very profound. It's a very profound play. Beautifully written play by a woman called Eve Ensler. And Eve is a serious activist for female equality all over the world. She's a global activist, and she's also an actress and a writer and a producer.
Really,
she produced the play in 1996. Shows you how long ago. And every single Hollywood actress you can name has performed in it. Yeah, from Meryl Streep, all of them. And lots of UK actresses have performed in it as well. I've been to see it a few times. And it's usually like an ensemble of between 5 and 10 women. And they all read these different monologues. And some of these monologues are hilarious. And they'll have you crying with laughter. And some of them are profound and are quite upsetting, because they're talking about, you know, women that have been raped, or women that have been gang raped in a war-torn country, or, you know, women that have don't really know anything about their vagina and don't know where their clitoris is and have never had an orgasm, and they talk about that. And so this is Eve going out talking to all these different women and then writing their stories as monologues, and they are phenomenal. And when you read them, it's not just about other people hearing them, it's the women that step up to read them and their take on them and their story and the way they do it, because we all do it differently. And so it's a entertaining, it's not like really serious, it's a really entertaining hour. It's only an hour.
It'll have you laughing, it'll have you crying, it'll have you moved.
Never forget it. It's one of these things that once you've seen it, you'll never forget it. But it's very hard to explain. You kind of just have to trust.
Yeah.
You have to trust the people that are in it and know, and come, because it will be. It's a journey. It's a ride, isn't it? It's a real ride.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite things.
And so now for the next 5 weeks, we're rehearsing this on a Tuesday night to make sure we deliver it for you on our A game and do an absolute sterling job of this. And so we had our first rehearsal last night and we had a right good laugh, didn't we? And we bonded as a different.
We had tears, we had laughter, we had sisterhood, which is what it's all about, isn't it? Yeah. It's all about that, because you are coming together to deliver some really tough monologues, and it brings you together as a group, and then it brings all the audience together as well. When you deliver those really powerful monologues, it brings everybody in the room together. So it's a real sisterhood kind of play. And
don't
let us be doing it in front of 5 of you, for God's sake. You need to be there.
We want everybody there, So just so you know, we're doing that performance at 6:30 on the Saturday evening, which for definitely those of you that have got a weekend ticket, you're going to be there, right? And we've been clever here. We've made sure there's nothing else on while we do this, right? So you're either going to sit around bone idle and bored stiff, probably with a bottle of Prosecco, otherwise, but you can bring your Prosecco in and watch Vagina Monologues, yeah? So yeah, Saturday night, 6:30, it will be the thing that is happening at the festival at that point. Yeah, so even if you're visiting for the day on Saturday,
stay.
Yeah, you can stay. We've even got silent disco after it, so you can either stay and watch monologues and then maybe go home about 7:38, or if you're then in the party spirit, you're welcome to stay 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock's proper lights out though. It is a well-being festival after all. So and that's why it's a silent disco. So anybody who wants to go meditate instead, we're not disturbing those that want a nice bit of yoga and a bit of rest and a bit of meditation. So yes, it's definitely one not to be missed.
Absolutely.
Not one to be missed. So yes, lots and lots going on. So I hope today has really kind of brought home for you the significance of this. This isn't just a social event. It's not like your standard summer festival. I know there's festivals that go on all up and down the country, all throughout the summer months in the UK. This one's different. A lot of people will say to us, oh, is it like Fern Cotton's Happy Festival? No, that's lovely. And thumbs up. I love Fern Cotton's Happy Festival. This is different. It's not the same. We've got some very strong reasons for being, compelling messages, missions that we're on, role models that we're trying to create, culture that we're trying to change, society that needs a big shift, and at the moment we're in a situation where we're unlikely to see it in our lifetime if we don't get our flipping skates on about some of this stuff, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Last night, a lot of women are like, oh yeah, we're kind of there now with equality. We're not.
We're not. We're going backwards. We're going backwards. Yeah. I mean, the level of misogyny, that we're now dealing with, that our girls grow up with, just is like normal to them. Yeah. The boys being in control, the boys having the power. It's like, I didn't grow up like that. And I mean, I'm 58.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that they'd be growing up in a much different space to me, but
Yeah.
they're growing up with more misogyny than I ever saw.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got more equity, but I feel like we've got less equality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the girls are buying into that. And why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Because if, you know, you want to be popular and you want a boyfriend, and, you know, of course you're going to buy into that. That's what your world's telling you you've got to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Really strong to stand apart from that and say, no,
Yeah.
no,
So
I'm not.
it's time to get in on the action, ladies, because actually, you know, a lot of people think, oh, well, there's nothing I can do to help that. There is.
Yeah.
Please don't overlook the fact that culture changes when individual people decide to do something different, and we influence each other. Someone sees you and they go, oh, I'll do a bit of that. And before you know it, you get to a tipping point. Yeah. Malcolm Gladwell, he's got a book.
Absolutely.
Read that, right? That's how you change culture.
And I always say, you know, we're changing the world one girl at a time.
Yeah.
She'll change her world, and, you know, there's a ripple effect. It's okay saying where you're working with 20 girls at a time in a school, but I promise you those 20 girls will change the culture in that school.
Yeah.
You know, there's a kind of ripple effect. They'll change what's going on where they live. They'll change what's going on in their family. They'll change what's going on in their class.
Yeah.
So there might be one girl, but she's influencing a huge area.
Yeah.
So, you know, yes, it's one girl at a time, but that one girl is going to pick up that baton.
Yeah. Don't underestimate the power of one.
Yeah.
Totally. So, you know, and there's loads of other stuff going on, right? We've got amazing, inspiring speakers all day on the main stage in the big tent, covering all aspects of life for women, whether it is confidence, whether it's money and finances, whether it's hormones. You know, Emma, who's been on here today, she's talking about what it's like to live life as a single woman in her 40s. We're trying to get in on all of the subjects that are inclusive, that address things that everybody experiences, not just the common ones. We're trying to make sure that we bring topics to the conversation that are meaningful to everybody in many different ways. So check out on the website the lineup for Saturday and Sunday on the main stage. And as well in there, we've got entertainment going on. There's loads of performances. We've got some epic women singing. We'll be having a panelist discussion, so you can get involved in that and ask you questions. We've got a fashion show on the Sunday, showing women how to dress the body they've got, not the one they think they wanted. No more waiting to lose weight before you buy yourself something. We can show you how to look and feel $1 million exactly as you are. Our resident personal stylist will be helping you do that. We've got the pamper tent. So just like Jane's got her area for the girls to get festival ready, we've got ours for the big girls too. So you can get in there and you can have a little bit of something done in there. The well-being tent, like Jane's just talked about for the teens, we've got yoga, we've got meditation, we've got workshops on how to change toxic habits, vision boarding. We've also got a very intriguing one that's called the Nude Awakening. So if you're up for being brave and seeing how much you can reveal of yourself and a bit of body painting, you could get involved in that. We've even got workshops on pussy power. So we've got some spiritual stuff. We've got womb healing, you know, so we've got everything at every end of the spectrum.
You've got Wim Hof, you've got ice baths.
Wim Hof breathwork, ice baths, walking on hot coals and walking on broken glass. So if you want to feel empowered for the weekend and liberated, we've got everything that you need. And I think, you know, the most important one for me is I think back to when I was 13, 14, and if somebody could have given me a weekend experience like this, God, would it have like blown my mind, inspired the hell out of me, and probably changed the trajectory of my life at that point. So if you can't owe it to yourself, which I hope you can, but if you can't owe it to yourself, then owe it to a teenage girl that you know, even if she doesn't belong to you. Don't go kidnapping any, will you? But if you've got granddaughters, if you've got nieces, if you've got goddaughters, if your neighbour next door but 3, if she can't come and bring her own kids, why don't you offer to take theirs or take yours and somebody else's? Double up. Yeah. You know, we really want to see at least 250 teenage girls come and spend some time with us that weekend and make a difference to their life. So get in on that.
And I also think that, you know, as women, we don't kind of travel in singles, do we? We travel in packs.
Yeah, at
So,
least it pairs, at
yeah,
least.
so let's you bring your bezzy, and you know, let her bring her bezzy. You know, and you know, because she's not going to come in that tent on her own. She'll walk out on her own feeling a different girl, but she might not walk in on her own. And the same with you. You know, you might not think, oh, I feel a bit uncomfortable doing that on my own. So bring somebody else. You know, make it an event. You know, come and have the experience with people you care about.
Yeah, and make some new friends. You know, there's a huge amount of evidence now that suggests that, you know, you are the average of the most people that you surround yourself with, the 5 most people you spend time with. Make sure you pick good uns, and we've got some bloody good uns to surround yourself with.
Yeah.
So I'm now sporting one. It's not very good in this light because I'm sat in the window. If I go back here, you can see it a little bit better. One of my Womanifest t-shirts.
There you go.
They're in the shop on the website. If you want one for when you come to the festival, you can get one of them in advance. But I've just popped a little thing up down the bottom here before we go. I don't know if you know this, but if you don't, you'll be so glad I told you that tomorrow, Saturday, just in case if you're watching this at a different time on replay, Saturday, 13th of August, is National Prosecco Day. You're welcome. So is the gift from me to you today is to let you know that tomorrow is National Prosecco Day. And we can't let that go by unmarked as an event, especially for Womanifest, when we have our own brand of Prosecco available. So Womanifizz, as you can see there, it's properly branded as Womanifizz. It is exceptional quality Prosecco, straight from the source. None of this stuff that gets additives in it to go and sit on a supermarket shelf for months on end. Working with a local supplier who has contacts direct at the source. So it's beautiful. We've got, you know, white Prosecco, standard Prosecco, and there's a rosé Prosecco. So if you buy your ticket this weekend, a weekend ticket or a VIP ticket, we'll gift you a bottle of Womanifizz. You can choose which colour. And we'll have one put to one side with your name on it for you to come and collect when you arrive at the festival. So I don't think you need a reason better than that, do you, to pull your finger out and get your ticket booked this weekend.
Yeah.
Enjoy the sunshine. You know.
Amazing.
So on that note, I think, God, we've been on our soapbox as we always do.
We have indeed. We have indeed.
Not apologise.
No, absolutely not.
No,
See you there, people. See you there.
See you there. Yeah. So yes, we'll bid you farewell. I hope you find that insightful, useful, inspiring, compelling. Get on board. Give this a share, please.
Yeah.
Even if it's not to come to the festival, more and more people need to hear this message. So help us out and do us a favour and give this a share. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you there. So have a happy Friday. Enjoy the sunshine this weekend. Don't get too burnt anywhere, will you? Take care. Put some sun cream on. And we'll see you again next week. Bye.